Welcome in. It's the Braves Central podcast here on a Tuesday. Braves out in Sacramento taking on the Athletics. Barrett Sallee, Chris Dimino with you, Chris. This is unique going to a minor league stadium out west, but something that I think hopefully if you're the Braves, you can get a little momentum going into the All-Star break.
Yes. It's a different kind of park. It'll be interesting to see because I know some of the questions tonight, win or lose. What was it like to play here? Is the Players Association angry about all this? And, you know, the park will actually be part of the storyline, but it's not going to cover up. You know, if you don't play well for 3 days out there, and I'm talking about winning 3 games in a row, because that's really the place you're at. This is not a go on the road and go 4-2. I think it's got to be better than that, and I think it's got to start in Sacramento. And I'm kind of curious to see, again, I am curious to see what players say. But at the end of the day, they are going to keep scoring this game, and it's not going to be about the location. It's going to be about with a 20-year-old on the mound who's really, you know, gotten his ass handed to him more than not. Is he able to do anything? The running joke should be, and again, I'm just sitting here thinking about it, this is the type of park he's supposed to be pitching in. This is where he's supposed to be. Maybe he's more comfortable without another one of those bleacher levels that everybody talks about. Maybe it settles him down. We'll see.
So on Sunday, we had the early morning game, and then we did not see Michael Harris. We did not see Marcell Ozuna. We did not see Ronald Acuna Jr. Fully anticipated that from Ronnie. But is this the time? What do you want to see from Marcell Ozuna? Because watching him run down the first baseline, it looks painful.
You know, again,
it looks painful.
If this was a showcase, and I've seen those before. Hey, our guy is for you. Our guy has what you want to need. It's not working. And, you know, I'm on record as saying that if somebody wants Marcell Ozuna and you're a contender, like you're 2 up, 2 back, I'm sitting him for 5-10 days. Maybe I put him on a 10-day IL. I'd speak to him first. But there's no more, I can make my way through this. If he needs 10 days off, if I'm trading for Marcell Ozuna, I'm getting him sooner, not later, and I'm letting him sit for 10 days. I'm going to try to get him healthy. I'm going to also ask him to stop eating, you know, because I don't think he's doing his hip any favor, and I certainly know going base to base is at best what he can do. He's gotten bigger. I don't think the bat speed has gotten slower, but it's something I worry about. And quite honestly, this version of him, and I'm not even joking about this, like I'm not even being smug. If your hip hurts and you can't do whatever it is you might do, walking, getting on a treadmill, whatever it might be, if you don't change a little bit of how you go about your business, you're going to gain 10 pounds pretty easily in that world. You really are. And I think he has. I think he's found at least 10 pounds. But I also understand that if you got a bad hip, there's not much you can do from a cardio point of view. If I traded for Marcell Ozuna, if I wanted him, and I think for the next couple of months, 2.5 months, he can be a better player and better than what my DH situation is because it's a straight DH deal. Like, there's no, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. I'm going to play him over here. That's not it. He's got one job. It's to hit. I'd sit him for 10 days. But the Braves are in a situation where it almost feels like they can't. They probably should, but they've got themselves backed into a corner because they kept playing him, and he got worse and worse and worse. And the rest of the world goes, I don't think I want him. You devalued him, or he devalued himself quite a bit during the stretch.
So we've had the second Michael Harris break, so to speak. The first time it didn't really help, although there were a couple games where you kind of saw flashes. This to me is, again, the last chance we have other than trying to do something drastic with Michael Harris II, because the plate discipline is still not there. Now, he lucked into some hits, maybe, you know, his approach was a little different, but this is still not going well in terms of how he approaches at-bats. If this sort of mini break doesn't work and the All-Star break doesn't work, what do we do? Because I don't think there's anything left.
So, speaking of, so the analogy, I'm a big fight fan. And I think with Marcell Ozuna and Michael Harris, 2 things happen. You're in the ring, and all of a sudden you're in a corner, and you're getting your ass kicked. Your corner doesn't want to throw in the towel. They've seen you rally from moments like this, so they're not going to just end it. So what do? You think, well, my guy will punch his way out of the corner. My guy will hit his way out of this slump. And it got worse, and not a little worse. Like, these are the two, my guess is, and I don't know what metrics are really being used. I don't know which ones I could make my case with, or somebody could throw at me and say, no, you're not quite accurate. I don't care. If there's a group of 5 worst offensive players in baseball right now, I think we have 2 of them. And I think it was we were trying to get these guys to punch their way out of the corner, hit their way back into being better baseball players again, because you don't have enough players to say, I give up on this guy, now I'm going to let that guy play. We saw it now finally where the 2 catchers were actually in the game, with one of them DHing. Will you do that for an extended period of time, or is that just a one-off? Michael Harris got 2 at-bats, of course, on Sunday, and the at-bats found him, and that's what they were. Ronald got his at-bats Sunday. That's what that was. So you didn't even get whatever the benefit of a full day off is. I told you what I would have done with both guys, with both. I would have sat Marcell Ozuna for 10 days. Let's get healthy. That's a get healthy thing. I would have sat or IL'd Michael Harris for 10 days, and I just would have said for 3 or 4, like what's coming up at the All-Star break, nothing baseball. Before I send you to either Northport or to go play with Gwinnett, and maybe it was going to be Northport. Maybe you were going to try to get him down in a situation where it was just about that, and then you try to relax. Slow your mind down, because I'm assuming this is consuming him, and that hasn't proven to be a good thing. Thinking about something more and wanting to be better can really tie you up in a knot. So that's what I would have done with these 2 guys, but I just thought everybody around here said, if you're 7 back on a wild card, you're still in it. I can't have these 2 guys sit, because then my lineup's not as good. But you ended up, quite honestly, with diminishing returns on both of them.
Yeah, because, I mean, you would argue, and I would argue, that those guys being in there actually lost quite a few games.
Well, it didn't help.
So,
again, I don't know what war is, because the last word in war is replacement. You know, I've always wondered, when you tell me that, who would have been in his heyday? Who would have been Mike Trout's replacement? I would think you'd have a 48 war if you're Mike Trout in a year. If you go Joe Schlub at AAA is the one that replaces you. So I don't even understand it, and I don't even care. I'm sure it's a measuring stick that a lot of people will use to either make their case or denounce somebody else's. But if you believe that the guys that you had in were not going to give you as much of a chance, you don't play them. But I think looking back now, you realized. I watched Stuart Fairchild lay down a bunt, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. I almost wept. Like, I almost wept, because it was a smart baseball play and a guy that was playing within his capabilities were. There was baseball IQ. There was, I can do this because I'm fast enough. This is not flukish. And all of a sudden I said, wow, that's a real good baseball IQ play. You got nothing out of it again. So, you know, one step up, 3 steps back, that's sort of where we are right now. And the idea, once again, that you're going to throw out a 2-8 in a 10-game stretch when everybody above you in the wild card, nobody was better than 6-4, and there were a bunch of 5-5s, and there were a few 4-6s, and you did nothing but lose ground in a situation where what we asked for, everybody else coming back to the pack a little bit, you actually fell further back. You fell closer to the Pittsburgh Pirates and Washington Nationals than you climbed up in a time when people in front of you were not very good baseball teams.
No, they weren't, and the Athletics aren't either. So hopefully the Braves can try to get back on track this week out there. West Coast games, of course, you can hear all of them on the 680 The Fan app across the Braves radio network as well.
I don't know if it would help this year, but I'm sort of on the Mason Miller. If he's going to be the closer somewhere, it's not going to be Oakland next year. Oakland's got to trade him, because having a closer like that with that ability with contractual, controllable years, I think that's the type of guy that, and by the way, if you did that this year, people are going to say, well, that's not enough. And I agree with you. But if he's the closer of my future, and I could work a deal with a team that I've worked a deal with before. Now, by the way, for a guy like that in his arm, you're not going to be the only ones. And he hasn't been totally lights out, but he certainly flashes brilliance. And if you're thinking about your closer thing down the road, and you have to, because Iglesias is probably gone. Dylan Lee, I don't think he's an answer. I threw out there Mike Soroka next year as a free agent. Might be a guy that I look at for a 7th, 8th, maybe even a 9th inning role. But I think Mason Miller is a guy that if there's going to be something done this year that you go, that's not enough for this year, the next sentence should be, Yeah, but I'm trying to cover something that would be a problem for the next couple of years. We'll see if anything like that happens.
We'll see. We'll see. No time like the present. There's no doubt. He's Chris Dimino. I'm Barrett Sallee. This has been Braves Central. And of course, you can hear all of the action from out there in Sacramento across the Braves Radio Network and 680 The Fans app. Make sure you download that. If you don't want to stay awake, you don't want to watch TV, just pop it on your phone. You can hear the sultry tones of Ben Ingram as you fall asleep. So we'll see if they can get back on track this week out there in Sacramento.